Many have just woken up, and I wanted to come and tell you about about how we behold Christ, and how it's very easy to behold him as something good. And he is good, but I mean, like, without that passion, without the zeal, where you're beholding him basically like his fruits, like he's good for you, like brown bread and vegetables. And there is no passion in that. Actually, I feel like that's what religion looks like, when you just love Christ for all the good things he can do for you, for all the ways he can change your life. And I mean, that is a goal. But you start to learn how that's just a way the church markets itself, unfortunately, about how the church is this place to just change you, and it just makes you feel like God is some kind of Santa Claus. I mean, it's just a doing God. What about just beholding him for who he is? That kind of thing. What about just having him because he's just beautiful? And this has been sparked up in me because of a video I've watched. And so I'm wondering if I should say the name of the video. No, let me not. Maybe you'll ask me. Let me not. Maybe I don't know about YouTube and how things operate, but yeah. So this lady is gay, and she's a homosexual, and she's talking about how when God called her initial response was not to go to God to take away her gayness. It was just to go to him so she could be what he had envisioned for her, because there's so much more to us other than our flaws. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can actually be flawless and still be out of the will of God. Do you get, like, I don't even know. I feel like religion has really ruined some of the things God had in store for us. And I mean, like, slowly but surely, I start to see God's grand plan, like, afresh. I start to see how he really desired a relationship. I mean, King Adam knew Jack, but the Lord would walk with them in that day. I mean, I feel like beyond what we bring, the Lord just wants us. And I think I talked about this in another video, and I was telling you, come as you are. And so now, even as a follow-up to that, it's just a matter of, number one, come as you are, and then number two, like, want the Lord for the Lord. And let me tell you, when I suffered child loss, because I was pregnant, I carried to term, and then I went through a stillbirth. That's when I learned. That's when I was faced with the question, which I'll talk about later, that whole experience. But that's when I was faced with the question of, do I love God for the things he does for me, or do I just love him? And that was a tough pill to swallow, because eventually I did have to swallow it, and I did have to recognize that, man, this is our wicked world. These are some of the things that happen. Let me tell you, God is much more than this being, this superior being that just, does miracles, or I don't know. I also don't like sometimes defending God. I feel like he can defend himself, or defending the faith, because I feel like it can defend itself just through the word. But these are some of the things that make me sad, because I see how many people are locked out of Christianity because of the kind of message that sometimes we propagate out there, and the kind of billboards we set up, that the Lord only wants you if you're not an alcoholic. The Lord only wants you if you're keeping yourself from marriage. Those are all good things, fam. Don't get me wrong. It would be best if you are not a drunkard. It would be best if you could just abstain. And you see, even the sins I'm telling you now are just proof of how my mind has been socialized, because I'm only mentioning the ones which look so bad. Yet there's bad things as well, like bitterness, but we only focus on the grave ones. It's so trippy. It's so trippy. I wish we can all get to a point where all that matters is me and Christ. I'm trying to be like Christ. These other things, and when I'm beholding Christ, I'm beholding him because of he's the marvel, and his beauty and how precious he is something to behold. I just feel like I'd be very far in life if that's how I was doing things. I just feel like I don't know what you guys think, but yeah. So I know that I've said things like so many things, but that's the only way I knew how to like articulate myself and to like bring my point across.